Bouch just flipped me off again. That's okay. I don't blame him.
He's number one.
Because we're doing another Budweiser product.
Yeah.
This is the Budweiser Black Lager.
I will say, Budweiser has changed up a few things, and they're actually trying to make it a little more palatable.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been doing a little bit better.
They're more creative craft
beers.
Because they are trying to emulate the craft industry. Their more creative beers have actually been successes.
Yes.
We talked about the Amber Lager, the Discovery Reserve, some of
the
their
Copper
more
Lager
with Jim
Beam, which is what they're doing here.
Yeah. Some of their more adventurous beers have actually been decent beers.
Yes.
Which we grudgingly have to give them credit for.
Yeah.
Because we know they're just trying to capture that market share of the craft brewer, which they've been doing by trying to acquire craft breweries and still market it as that name and horning in it. And it's not working, though. They're still losing market share overall.
Yeah.
They've gone from like 99% down to, I think it's 80-something%, but still, I mean.
Yes, but introductory is, like the college frat parties and all that stuff. I mean, they're going to stick with those type of beers as far as like cheap ones that will get you buzzed.
Budweiser and Bud Light have their place. I'm not going to say they don't. But I will say, I got to give credit where credit's due. They are getting more adventurous. Yep. They're making beers that taste better and have more complex flavors.
Yes.
There we go. Let's hope the Black Lager is one of those. Hey, where was the last place you saw this stuff?
I think Hannaford.
You actually saw it at Hannaford, one of our local grocery stores, folks. I've been keeping an eye out at the local grocery stores, local beer stores, all over the fucking place trying to find this stuff. Guess where I found it?
Probably at Meridian's.
Nope.
How about Damon's?
Meridian's doesn't even carry Sam Adams.
Well, Damon's.
Nope. Circle K, down here on the fucking Four Corners.
Really?
A local convenience store. I've been trying to find this stuff at every beer store in the area, and it shows up at a local convenience store.
Well, you know something? I may have just seen it recently at Damon's, but I never really paid any attention to it.
Exactly.
Right.
I like the Stubbies, by the way. Short little bottle.
They have, and that's the other thing about Budweiser. Mm-hmm. They've been actually going to these specialty beers.
Yeah.
And no, the only other one that we've seen is the Coors Light or the Coors Banquet.
Yeah. Yep. No, I like the classic stubby beer bottles. I don't know. There's something very pleasing about holding the whole thing in your hand. Now, that's a very effervescent beer. I've been wanting to do this with a darker beer that wasn't completely midnight black, and I think it's working out, this particular coaster. Maybe I'll look for something with a more powerful light. Ha! Got a bit of a head on that one. I didn't get much on this one, so somewhere there's got to be a middle ground. But look at all those fucking bubbles coming up.
Got some glugging in on that.
Look at all those bubbles coming up down around my fingers. That is a very effervescent beer. It's pretty dark for a Bud product. It's got a bit of a reddish tinge to it.
It's almost like it's darker than the Copper Lager.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Which is probably why they called it Black Lager. Or Copper Lager, too.
It still has that color to it, though.
Yeah. It does have a bit of a reddish tinge.
From what I can see on the outside of the glass, it almost has the Sam Adams Boston color to it. It's a little bit darker.
Yeah, I was going to say it's definitely darker.
It is a little bit darker. But when you look at the edges, we actually held it up to the camera, I could actually see the sides of it were that color, that copper color from the Sam Adams type
I can see what you're talking about on the edge. It's got an overall reddish tinge, but there is a bit of a copper hue to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And really, you look at how I poured that, and look at the head. The head's not going anywhere.
I mean, I was seeing a ton of bubbles coming up from down here, which is probably what's replenishing that head there.
Yep. And it was just the way I poured it.
A more aggressive pour.
Which is actually the way I was pouring it was more aggressive. So
it doesn't have much of an aroma.
Oh. Wait a minute here.
Just a generally. Oh, it did not float. You better not choke on that. I'm not calling 911 later.
Yeah, it didn't float. Unless you actually just set it on top.
It does kind of float.
If you set it on top, yes. Okay. But if you actually plop it in there, it's not going to float.
You are not capable of settling anything right now. You're only capable of plopping.
Well, you look. I got my friggin' phone in the picture here, so. And you didn't remind me.
Wasn't too worried about it.
No.
I'm in pretty good shape myself right now.
Well, actually, the last few friggin' reviews, I've had some text come through. So
there you go. But no, there's not much of a aroma to it, but it does have a nice medium light mouthfeel. I'm not getting any hoppiness, but I am definitely getting some graininess and some charred woody notes.
Yes. And I'm getting almost a malt that you had kind of you almost have to chew a little bit.
I'm getting some roasty chocolatey, almost chocolatey or coffee notes from roasted malt, but not necessarily getting the heavy body that you're getting. Not
really heavy body, but it's like if you get those lingering aftertaste of the kind of chocolate, you get that little smacky on the back of your tongue.
On the very finish, I am definitely getting some Jim Beam.
Yes.
Jim Beam Black, because I'm getting the woody, roasty notes up front, but then in the finish, I'm getting a little hint of a nice blended black whiskey.
Yes. I'm getting that as well. It is a very, actually, decent beer.
It's better than what, like we said on the top of the video, it's better than what we're used to from Budweiser.
Yes. And it does have... What are some of the other black, like, lagers or things that we've tried that have this type of flavor?
In more recent memory, I'd have to go to Shipyard's Black IPA. This does not have the hoppiness of the Black IPA, but it does have the...
backbone.
This nice solid malt backbone.
Yeah.
What I think we're getting more than anything else is the fact that this was aged somehow on Jim Beam...
Staves.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember because there was another Jim Beam collaboration. Not the
copper
black
one.
It was the copper. And I believe that was simply aged on barrel staves. I'm almost wondering if this was placed in the barrels themselves because I'm getting more distinct woody charred notes and some hint of Jim Beam in the finish. Just that whiskey flavor.
Just that bourbon flavor.
Yeah. Bourbon, whiskey, depends on where it's made. It's pretty much the same thing.
Yes. And you're more of a Jack guy anyway, so.
Well, Jim Beam ain't bad. Yes. But there are other reasons I boycott, semi-boycott Jim Beam. If the price is right, I'll still buy their products, including Pinnacle Vodkas, but... look what they did to White Rock Distillery
I'm
here
actually,
in Maine.
yes, I'm remembering what... Yes.
I'm not going to go on a complete segue into that, but just look up what Jim Beam America did to White Rock Distilling here in Lewiston, Maine.
Yep.
You don't know why I semi-boycott them, but again, every man has his price.
That's right.
If the Jim Beam shit is cheap, I'm still buying it.
Yep. And it's really hard to put a flavor on this.
No, again, it's Budweiser, but it's not as skunky as typical Budweiser or Bud Light. It's got
Well,
a
I
medium
will say any Anheuser-Busch product is going to actually be pretty much a 2.5.
At least.
At least.
They don't
Just
do
depending
shitty beer. They just do
Right.
average beer.
They do average beer. And as far as this goes, I'm actually going to put it at a 4 because they are actually giving me a little bit of a different flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Just like with the Copper Lager, with the Discovery Reserve, and the other one that we did, which was the Prohibition one. I can't remember what that was. But it, at least for one, they are trying to change. And come into the actually the craft beer type of flavor. They can gussy it up by saying this was a recipe from back in 1940 something or 1930 something or whatever.
I don't think they did that with this one, but
No, they didn't.
No.
But I mean, we know they did with a couple of the other ones that we tried.
The Prohibition era.
The Prohibition era one. Actually, it was the end of Prohibition.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Discovery Reserve, which was supposedly happened in 1960 something.
Yeah.
And then with the Copper Lager with Jim Beam, where they did the just the Budweiser pretty much on the Jim Beam staves.
Yeah.
And then they did a few other things with it as well, just to make the flavor profile a little bit different.
Yeah.
They still, as far as like Budweiser is concerned, make the pretty much the same consistent product.
American standard beer.
Budweiser,
Red
Budweiser.
Label. Even Bud Light is the American standard light beer.
But we also understand that Budweiser, Bud Light are the number 1 and number 2 beers in America.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And actually, they're starting to actually spread a little more, not just in America, but they are starting to spread worldwide a little bit more. This is a little bit of a step from what they actually regularly produce.
Mm-hmm.
But I will give you kudos because you're the only company that of your stature that is doing it.
Yeah. I mean, they're producing a consistent product for their mainline beers, which we're not that impressed by, but they're drinkable, they're standard,
Right.
they're beers.
But they're also trying to make the changes where you don't see Miller, you don't see what's the other one that's in.
Now here we're completely ignoring business practices versus love of the craft.
Right.
Because I guarantee you, this Black Lager, any other experimental series they've done, are more about business practices and capturing market share than they are about love of the craft of beer making.
Right.
My opinion.
Which actually you don't see Miller doing anything different.
Mm-mm.
You don't see any of the other beer ones doing
They'll fall
anything
under
different.
the same umbrella, so they're of course going to attach the Budweiser label. But
As far as Miller's concerned, they are actually the same Budweiser
AB
label.
InBev. Yeah.
They are the same Budweiser label. And Coors, you're seeing them get back to their roots of the banquet beer, which actually they're trying to do more of than the Coors Light.
Yes.
And Coors Light,
Marketing is trying to push it, but Coors Light's still going to sell better because it's
Right.
beer water, and everybody loves beer water.
right. And really, I mean, let's put it this way. If I was going to actually choose between Bud Light, Coors Light,
On a
Or-
hot summer day?
or Miller Lite, I'm going to choose the Miller every chance I get.
The slight hoppiness to Miller Lite would influence my decision, but I'll tell you what, on a hot summer day when I'm just like looking to drink beer water, it's Coors Light.
Well, actually,
Goes down smooth and easy every
let's put it this way. What was it that night in Bangor? Or would we actually put away?
Miller Lite and Coors Light, we got a 30 rack of each, and there were about...
I actually think we got 2 30 racks.
No, as I said, there was a 30 rack of each, Miller Lite
It
and
was
Coors
a 30
Light.
rack of each, and
I think there were
we got
maybe 5 beers left at the end of the night, so...
I don't even think there was that many. I actually
It was a
think
rough night.
we had another 30 of one of the lights.
Bud Light, because you bought that one.
No, I wouldn't have bought that.
Yeah, back then you were a Bud Light guy. Anyway,
Plus also somebody else had Sam Adams in there too.
but we've talked enough about other beers. Let's just get back to this one real quick. You gave it a 4. I think I'm hitting this with a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
I'm not quite ready to bump it up to the 4 because I'm not as impressed, but you made some very good points. It's different. For a Budweiser product, this is impressive.
Yeah.
It's got some whiskey aftertaste. It's got an upfront, very malty, heavy, smoky, and woody flavor. It's different. It's more innovative than a lot of stuff we see from Budweiser. Same, like you said, Discovery Lager, the Amber Lager, etc.
Yes. And
Ooh, pardon.
I mean, I knew you had this out. I just didn't find it anywhere that.
Yeah, they're making
The
some
only-
stuff that impresses me.
The only thing
That's
that
what
I
I'm saying.
saw that was out was still the Copper Lager. They
Yeah.
still have the Copper Lager out,
Copper Lager
which-
everywhere.
which is pretty much very, very drinkable beer.
No, and the way I see it is it's stepping stone.
Yes.
Budweiser produces a product for Budweiser drinkers. Budweiser Copper Lager is for the more adventurous Budweiser drinkers, and it will slowly introduce them to the world of craft beer and all the
Well, pretty
complexity
much,
that they're in.
pretty much all of those, the Copper Lager, the Discovery, the Prohibition one, which actually was a limited edition, wasn't it? And
They've all been limited edition, so.
yeah, but they've still had quite a few of them out.
Yeah.
But they are actually, at least they are trying to improve,
No, they're
trying to change with the market.
like I said, the cynical part of me just says it's all about the marketing and getting that market share.
Right. Which,
Less so than it is about the love of beer.
Well-
But that's me being cynical. Bouch is a little bit more of an optimist than I am.
let's put it this way. They want to get the market share, which is true. But they also want to, I actually do believe they are trying to catch up with the craft beer scene.
Sir, you are the originator of the phrase, looks like I got some catching up to do. He
No.
doesn't remember the rest of that night.
Actually, I
But-
kind of do. I had a
Kinda.
Jack Budweiser.
A Bud Jack water.
Yeah,
It was Budweiser, Jack Daniels, and Firewater.
which was probably about this much of a can of Budweiser. And then Jack Daniels Firewater on top of that.
A lot of liquor went into that beer.
There was,
that drink.
in actuality, there was probably a Budweiser can that was as close as it was to a Budweiser in that. It said Bud Light, but
But that is a story for another time.
yeah, we
We
can
will
talk
tell
about
it
that.
someday.
We can talk about that
But-
some other time.
In terms of the Budweiser Black Lager, honestly, whatever the motivation is behind the product, it is better than a Budweiser.
And I think
We can
we've
agree
said
on
that. I think we've said that
Yeah.
for pretty much all the other. And what
All the
actually, I also
special
think,
edition
between both of us,
Mm-hmm.
the bottle is giving it extra points.
I'm not giving it extra points for the stubbies. I do like the stubbies, but I'm basing my opinion purely on the taste.
Okay.
So 4 from you,
Yep.
3.5 from me. I think we've gone on so many segues because we're just dancing around the fact that we actually like a fucking Budweiser product. Which is awkward for us. So we're just talking about anything and everything to distract from that.
Also, Roddy, between us actually saying this, look at what we actually have for a glass.
Mm-hmm.
And why are we actually putting it in this glass, though?
Because the Sam Adams glass, while it may be designed perfectly for Boston Lager, to enhance the flavor with the laser etching down here of the nucleation point, the globular shape of the glass, and everything else, there are many reasons this was designed to make Boston Lager more enjoyable. There are four different styles of beer glass.
That's true.
Not meaning to cut you off here. 4 different styles of beers. Ales, lagers, IPAs, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But the Sam Adams Perfect Pint Glass, while it's specifically designed for Boston Lager, it does complement every other beer style.
Yep.
Maybe not as well as a glass specifically designed for that beer does, but to the extent where I don't have to keep 20 fucking beer glasses in my cabinet in order to find the perfect one for that style.
Right. And if you've actually noticed over the last how many years of videos that we've done,
5.5.
You have actually each different size glass of the Sam Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you said, the Sam Adams pint glass is pretty much the perfect pint glass.
That I use for almost everything.
And it works for pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up,
I was going to say, there's a point coming eventually, right?
in a way, well, kind of.
Because this is a half an hour video at this point. But... so, please make
you know
your
what?
point so we can cut it off and finish it.
You know what?
What?
Even Sam Adams can actually bring Budweiser up to the forefront for certain things.
Look, I hear what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
But I'm not gonna give the glass 100% credit for this. I am going to begrudgingly give Budweiser credit for being innovative.
And like I said, they're the only American beer,
the big beer
that is actually trying to keep up with the craft beer.
Oh, and buying
the thing is also in Maine, there is so many different breweries out there now.
So many big breweries. I love Maine craft beer.
And the thing is, there's still room for a lot more.
Yes.
And that's what they've actually said on a lot of on the big scheme of things.
Back in the olden days, every town had their own brewery.
Yeah, before Prohibition.
We could see a return to that.
And actually, I think we are seeing a return to that.
Fuck, we're in China. I hope the hell we are seeing a return to that.
We'll see.
Because there's no other brewery in China. We could be the first.
We'll see.
But
just depends on how far we can go. Bouch and I Brewing. Well, actually, it'll be the Rod and the Bouch.
We'll figure something out.
Brewing.
If it ever gets to that point, we'll figure it out.
Well, actually, you're the one that in the brewery thing, so.
I know. Long-term pipe dream, etc.
Well, we do have some other things in the works.
My friends will be a part God damn it. Here come the hiccups.
That's all right. Let's just get through this.
My
And
friends will
why the
be
hell
a
have
part
you
of
drank
any
more than I have?
realized pipe dream I have. Anyway.
Well, you know what?
3.5 and a 4. Folks, hit us up down in the comments and the email link down below. Whew. While Bouch guzzles this. Love to hear what you have to say about this beer or any other beer we've reviewed. While you're at it, don't forget to like and share the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Till next time, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.
Keep drinking. And that's gone. Actually, so is yours.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?